simplify that procedure, let's look at my trimming method in a series of diagrams. Expose the active tip of the frog and the critical heel junctions. Then, using a felt pen, mark a point 19mm behind the active tip of the frog. The front half of the hoof is invariably much longer than it is in a straight line across the buttress of the heel. Compare these two measurements and it will be fairly obvious that we need to start reducing that thickness in the hoof capsule across the toe. So concave the sole, working out from the frog sole junction to the hoof wall junction. Remove any excess sole to provide a natural concavity in the sole. When you're removing this sole, what comes off fairly easily will all be needed to be taken off. You'll notice spiderweb fissure cracks in the sole. Most of these can be removed, but do not over trim the sole. Having done this, by rasping or cutting the toe down to this live sole hoof wall junction in the front half of the hoof only, you will notice a thickening in the hoof wall at the toe. This needs to be taken forward and pared back to maintain or achieve an even thickness in the front half of the hoof wall. If, having planed the hoof wall down to the sole junction, you find that the hoof wall in the toe is already an even thickness, leave it alone, because it's quite possible that the overgrowth is in the heel. This happens not too often, but it does happen. So then compare the toe measurement, which is now correct because of the even thickness of hoof wall around that part of the hoof. Compare that to the heel measurement. Now, if necessary, to achieve an equal measurement, lower the heels. But always remember, do not trim the heels down to the critical junction of the frog. Always leave the heels up 3 to 4mm above this junction. That is the comfort zone of the horse. With regards to the toe, if you're trimming the horse for unshod use, the hoof capsule should be left 3 to 4mm above the sole junction. This will make no difference in your overall 50-50 measurement, because it will always be that the front half should equal the back half. Take the hoof forward and rasp down the side walls and back towards the heel if there are any flares in that area. Next, check the medial lateral measurement. Mark the centre of the frog 19mm back from the tip. Place the base of the triangle on the frog centre point marking. This may not necessarily be equal to the measurement in the toe to the heel, but whatever it is, your medial balance must be the same as your lateral balance. In the correctly balanced hoof, when the balanced measurement is achieved in the hoof, the front of the hoof wall is parallel with the pastern angle. The hoof shape is a mirror image of the ideal coronary band. There are no flares in the hoof wall and the hoof is stress-free. These equal measurements result in a perfect T-square down the rear of the pastern and across the heels. This T-square, incidentally, happens automatically if you have aligned the bottom of the hoof up across the buttress of the heels to achieve an equal measurement in the toe and the heel section of the hoof. It will automatically give you a T-square down the back of the pastern and across the heels. It's interesting to note that the correctly balanced hoof helps eliminate lameness by correcting flares, long toes and low heels, short toes and high heels, contracted heels, and the need for remedial shoes, which all started by not correctly balancing the hoof in the first place.